City Sounds. Creating podcasts, creating podcasters.
This is the place to start. In this series of podcasts, we hope to give you some tips and inspiration to get help if you hit a few bumps along the way on your time here at City.
Anxiety, I feel like anxiety is a really hidden and quiet problem.
Balancing everything is so hard.
It's just overwhelming sometimes.
It definitely goes up and down depending on how stressful the deadlines are.
Doing your work to the best of your ability means you can't take care of your mental health at the same time, and it's a vicious cycle.
Loneliness and to the anxiety and stress that comes with simply just moving somewhere new.
This is a production by students for students, and we hope you'll find it interesting. There'll be information about how you can get more help at the end of each episode.
Just knowing that there's things available in City for me.
Welcome to the place to start. I am Elena from the wellbeing team at City University. I'm here with Will King, a student on the MA Broadcast course. Hi Will.
Hello. In this episode we're going to hear the story of Annavi, a second year student of Media, Communication and Sociology here at City University.
Annavi is from India and she's going to talk about her experience struggling with mental health issues while being away from her family. So let's have a listen to the conversation.
I have always kind of struggled with my mental health, and when I decided to come here to the UK from India, I think I thought I would do pretty well. But turns out that I kind of struggled with my mental health in the first year, and I would say that it's like not completely fine, but I'm still kind of struggling every day. So I struggled with anxiety and depression, and it was more like separation anxiety, because obviously you're homesick and you're away from home. You experience loneliness because you're all alone here. Everything you have to do yourself. So that is something that came as a shock to me and my brain. I would say that it was pretty hard to be able to adjust, but it was always my dream to come to the UK. So I'm here and I'm glad that I'm here.
When did you first realize that you were experiencing some challenges?
I would say that I was very young, to be honest, when I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. Those were my school years, and pretty early school years, I would say. I was, managing somehow. I finished my school, then I came here to the UK. The time that I came here, I think I was doing pretty fine. But, it's not easy to be a girl in this world, I would say, because you get touched in inappropriate ways, and you're always the easy target, and people think that they can do whatever they want to with you. And even when it comes to people bullying you, I think there are people who just think that it's kind of okay to speak to people like that, but I just don't think that, they keep in mind that some people are more sensitive than themselves.
It sounds like you went through quite a lot during your first year at the university. And I wonder how this did impact your time at the university.
Obviously, when you come to another country, you feel that, you'll be independent and you'll do things on your own. You will not, you will not go back home, and, you'll enjoy the new country. But it turned out to be very different for me than I imagined. I always used to, come back and forth from India and then come here. So it kind of really affected my time here in the university. It impacted my studies as well. It became so much of a pressure at one point of time that it impacted my exams as well. So it just used to feel very difficult to even enter an exam room for me. It's just like a part of my daily routine now that I'm going through so much. But again, you have to come stronger out of it, and it's just that I've never given up on this. I will definitely come out stronger.
You said you started traveling quite a lot back and forth with India. I guess you did it because you needed the comfort of your family. Right. Are you still doing it?
Yes, I am still doing it, and I'm coming back and forth constantly. Some days I'm here, some days I'm missing classes, some days I just need the comfort of my home so much that, it becomes really difficult to travel back, because I just feel that what if, I slip into this again.
you didn't manage to find a sort of home or some comfort here?
The university has the health and well-being team, and they've been quite helpful with, my journey as well. And I would say that, keeping them in loop with my condition helped me a lot, even with adjustments to my timetable, or even for that matter, my exams. And sometimes I used to take exams online. Currently, I would say that after my first year, I again started, taking therapy, and I'm doing this thing that is called art therapy, which I feel that is very helpful to me because I was always somebody who really likes to do art. So I feel that it is a very good way to be able to express yourself.
When did you reach out to the health and well-being team? How did you hear about them in the first place?
So in the first place, when I got to know that, I'm struggling a lot with my university life, I started searching online, and on City's website, I got to know that there's a team that, helps you with all these struggles. So I reached out to them, and I got an appointment. I actually straight away walked into their office that, this is what is going through, and I need some help. That's how I got connected with them.
So what difference has this made to you?
What I have learned from this is that, you have to do this on time so that you don't struggle a lot in life. And it has just made me, strong enough to think that this is not everything, and I can always come out of this. And whenever I come out of this, I will definitely be stronger and stronger.
Do you still feel you have feelings of loneliness and remoteness from your family? And if you do, how do you cope with them nowadays?
Yes, I would say that I still miss my home, and I still miss the fact that, I'm not around my people. But eventually, you have to learn to live by yourself, because in the end, it's just you for yourself. So I think that I just feel that I do experience these things still. And I would say that I just, confined to my own self. I do what I love to do, because there are times when you have friends and there are times when you don't. So it's just important to be there for yourself always.
City University student Annavi there, talking to Sara Farolfi. Some of what Annavi was saying there will strike a chord with other people who've left home, whether they've come from the other side of the world or indeed, just from the other side of London to be at university. Would you say those feelings of missing home, of struggling in a new place are quite common?
Yeah, they are, and especially for international students, there's a lot of experience of a culture shock when they come to the UK and they're studying often in their second language and with peers that are new, and situations and buildings and London can all be very, very different to where their home country is. And so Annavi there talks about a lot of separation anxiety, which I think is really common, and it's very, very common for international students and home students to feel very, very lonely in the first few weeks of university.
Yeah, and I suppose the important thing that your team tries to do is make people realise that they're not alone, and there are, as Annavi said, there are support networks in place, and there are ways to sort of get through that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we try and make ourselves as well known as possible from the minute that you enter the university, from the registration, the enrolment. We want to make the health and wellbeing team really well known in freshers' fairs. We attend all the introduction events for each school, and we have those initial conversations with students like Annavi who might be struggling, especially with loneliness, anxiety, or they might have other issues like neurodiversity that is undiagnosed or diagnosed that they just wouldn't know how to find the right support. So we try and do a lot of outreach so that it makes it easier for students.
And we should talk about gender, because Annavi spoke quite a lot there about some quite awful experiences she's had being a young woman coming to the UK. Is that the sort of thing you're seeing as well in the work you do?
I think that, for women, mental health may be slightly stigmatised, and for men as well, really stigmatised. But I think that, young women are vulnerable sometimes in our society, and especially if we come from different cultures where women are treated slightly differently than we may be here, that can be a real shock for some people. And I think that what we do is we try and make sure that whatever you're going through, you're not at a disadvantage while you're at university.
Yeah, and Annavi spoke about that, didn't she? She's sort of struggling with exams as well. What is your advice to people when they're struggling?
It's one of the biggest sort of presenting issues that we get in our service is students really stressed with exams. And you're right, it is a factor of being at university. You are assessed. There is a method of assessment, and one of those methods is sitting an exam, and that can often be a really, really daunting experience. You know, going into a silent room of a lot of people and your knowledge being put to the test under a time limit as well. You know, and there might be conversations around, you know, later down the line how we assess our students. But if you have an exam and you are feeling really, really challenged and the process of that seems really daunting, reach out to us. You know, you don't have to necessarily have a diagnosed mental health condition or a diagnosed neurodiversity or disability. It could be that you're really, really struggling with things, and there'll be things that we can do to support you. We usually ask students how long they've been feeling the way they're feeling and if it's impacting their day-to-day life. So if they're anxious, or if they're depressed, or if you're feeling feelings that you're not used to. Annavi there talks about, you know, coming to the country being a real kind of catalyst for all these emotions. And I think that can be the same for a lot of students. Studying at university suddenly brings on a lot of anxiety and a lot of loneliness. And so my question to a lot of students is, how long have you been feeling like this? And does it impact your day-to-day life at university? If the answer is actually for a long time, and yeah, it means I've missed a few lectures and I'm thinking about maybe not even coming to my exam tomorrow, then that's a real cause for concern and something that you should definitely speak up about.
And let's just finish by talking about that important thing of speaking out. Why is that so important?
Speaking out, I think it's a very daunting process. Perhaps you could be worried about being judged, or that people might not understand you, or in some cases may not even believe you. But we can definitely say that the wellbeing team believe everyone, and we know that university is very, very stressful, and we want to talk to you. So we're not scary. We want students to come and talk to us and to tell us their story so that we can listen and understand. So that's all for today. And thank you to Annavi for sharing her story. And thank you, Will, for joining us.
Thank you, Elena.
Remember that the conversation is always the place to start.
If you've been affected by anything you've heard here, please get in touch with the Student Wellbeing team or check out episode 6 in our series for more information.